What's up, y'all? It's DNF, Dustin. So, one of the things that I really struggled with in my career for a very long time was how to celebrate my wins. So, if you're like me and you go into your review, your boss back in the day would just tell me, okay, these are your results. This is what I feel like you did well. I may give some comments at the end. Where it changed the game for me and when I really started elevating my performance and my team's performance is when I knew exactly the score. I had no idea, when to jot these down, when to write down my wins. So we did two reviews per year. You did your mid year and your end of year. So my mid year, it might be two or three sentences. You may look at the metrics. Okay, this is what we've done well. And then I got to the point where I'd read through every bullet point. And, okay, I did this, this, and this, but it was all like just off the top of my head or whatever metrics I could pull at the time. So, and then at the end of the year, same deal. I would just really just add on to whatever I put at the mid-year as far as how I improved or digressed, typically improved from mid-year to end year. So this is really, really important. And once I started teaching this to people, it absolutely changed how they were able to track their wins and communicate their wins, because that is 90% of moving up in the corporate world, is being able to persuade people and letting them know, what you've done and how you did it. So this is the easiest way to track your wins. So every week, you need to jot it down on your calendar, block off 15 minutes, go through, start you a document or email it to yourself, keep it in a folder so you don't lose it. What were your wins this week? Okay. So, people, is it product, is it sales, processes? So those three areas, you can adjust it to your business, but it's all about like results, wins, people development, and then basically systems or operations. So track your biggest wins every week. And then when you get to the end of the month, have it on your calendar. Have your monthly wins. Look through what were your biggest wins of the month. So you're looking at your weekly notes for the entire month, highlight which ones are your biggest, and then the ones that stand out, you put those on your monthly wins. Then you do that for quarterly, very same thing. That way, when you get to the second quarter, same deal. So you're doing this every single week, every single month, then once per quarter. So that second quarter, now you've got your mid-year wins tracked. And when you first start doing this, the weekly, nothing's probably going to jump off the charts unless you just had something, a big week or something you'd been working on for a long time that you really just saw the results of. But as you go through the year, and there are so many wins that you're going to have. And if you don't jot them down and you don't track them, then at the end of the year, you may have two or three that really stand out to you. But ultimately, you're just looking at like overall business results. But if you have that detailed weekly, monthly, quarterly, then you can transfer it to the mid-year, year end. It's going to be an absolute game changer for not only the results piece that you can speak to. You can keep your boss. I would send that in every month after I figured this out. Hey, these were my weekly wins. This was my monthly wins. I would send it to him, and then quarterly, he already knew what my wins were. Instead of him or her going through and kind of doing the same thing. Hey, this is overall big picture what I saw. It's going to be more vague. When you have specific bullet points of different wins that you've had, man, it's so impactful, and it will really, really make an impact on basically your overall performance, your rating, your raise, and ultimately it gets you ready for the next step. So that is that's something I just wanted to share. I was in my career about 15 years before I ever figured that out. And man, once I figured that out, it made it so much easier to track. And kind of how I got to that point was when I went back and redid my resume. I had a resume writer that had me go back and look up every win that I had in every role that I'd ever had. And man, I did not have all those reviews. I could not remember. You're not going to be able to remember off the top of your head. Um, so once I started tracking that and collecting that data, man, it just really changed the game for me as far as being able to celebrate those wins and really getting noticed. So for me, I knew that I was killing it, but in the corporate world, there's probably 3 key metrics for every company. You may get some that have 5, 10, but the main ones, there's going to be 3 to 5 in every company. And that's what you're going to get judged on. And there may be some things in your control, it may be some things out of your control, but you can control the narrative. How you do that is exactly what we just talked about. Track your wins weekly, monthly, quarterly, then mid-year, year end. Make sure you communicate them to your boss, share them with your team, because you want them doing the same thing. Because once they start seeing that, okay, well, these are wins that my boss is celebrating, they'll start celebrating their wins, and they will teach their team to celebrate as well. And to really improve, 1, the morale, 2 is their ability to sell their self and get them ready for the next step. If they're able to articulate their wins, then they're going to understand the bigger picture better. And it's going to be less work on you as a manager. They're going to be, more motivated. It's going to raise morale. And then when they'll do the same thing, they'll pass it on to their team. Then their team will pass it on to to theirs. And it's just, it's basically a snowball, like a good snowball. You want to talk about increasing performance, raising morale, developing people, and it all comes down to celebrating your wins. Celebrate your wins. First, you have to track them. Well, I guess before that, you have to know what a win is. So educate your team. Hey, these are the KPI. These are the key KPIs. This is what I want you to focus on. This is the goal. Give them a stretch goal or ask them, hey, this is the company standard. What do you want to do? Where do you think you can get to? And really put it in their hands, and man, you'll be surprised at the results you get. But yeah, I had that quick note. Literally, this video came from one sentence, and it was, how do you track your wins? And the more I think about it as we talk through it, so important. I started doing this in 2020. Yep. So I redid my resume in 2019. Led me to absolutely changed the game for me. I think I got like 3 promotions in a little over 2 years, tripled my income. And I mean, really, the main thing that got me there was knowing my wins and being able to celebrate them, because people will remember that. They will see you in a different light. What's crazy to think about, like, everybody has a different opinion of you. Like, every single person, nobody has the same opinion of you. So you control the narrative. You keep up with your wins. You celebrate them. And the more you do this, the more natural it is. And I'll share this one last thing. So when I was switching careers, basically I skipped a lot of steps. So I went from a mid-level manager to pretty high up. And how I did that was that I think there was 3 or 4 rounds of interviews. One is I knew my biggest wins in each role, and I was able to share that. And my boss, 3 months after I'd been enrolled, she's 2 levels above me, has thousands and thousands of employees, and runs one of the most advanced distribution centers for one of the most advanced companies in the world. And she pulled me to the side just to see, hey, how's everything going? You've been in your role 3 months. And, I shared, hey, these are the wins. These are what I see as opportunities. She said, one thing that I remember from your interview is you told me how many people you promoted. You told me about your employee engagement results. You told me about how you increased revenue, this to this. And you're talking about somebody that gets stuff thrown at her every day, all day. And for her to remember like those exact stats was so impressive to me. But it also makes me think, if you do this the correct way, and that's what I'm sharing with you how to do. And there's a way, I'll do another video on it as far as how you actually articulate it. So you're not just like bragging. It's more of I call it celebrating your wins. And I think there's a proper way to do it. And I'll share that in a different video. But first, so important. If you can master this, sky's the limit. Climbing up, making more money, getting promotions. So first, life is a game, right? You have to know the score, and this is your score. This is your scoreboard. So take notes, follow the instructions, and I promise you it will lead you to incredible places. All right. See y'all in the next video.